So who is reading for us? 16 and 18 is a short read. James chapter 1. There are subsequent readings afterwards, but we are beginning with James. James chapter 1, verse 16 to 18. So let me read. I'm going to be reading a couple of scriptures, so let me read. So I need us to listen, right? Just listen. And don't forget, you are looking for Christ in the scriptures. And the topic for today's Shabbat service is living in the light. Living in the light, part 2. So we did it part 1, living as light. Now we are saying living in. We did living as light. Now we're doing living in the light. It is vision. It is the further edition of our vision series. So let's go on. Right. So James chapter 1, verse 16 to 18. Do not be deceived, my beloved brethren. Every good thing given and every perfect gift is from above. Is from above. Every good thing given and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation. The Father of lights, with whom there is no variation. I need, with whom there is no variation or shadow of turning or shifting shadow, with whom there is no variation or shifting shadow. In the exercise of his will, he brought us forth by the word of truth, so that we would be a kind of first fruits, among his creatures. So we read James chapter 1, verse 16 to 18. Right? James chapter 1, verse 16 to 18. Are we together? So it's Bible study and it's interactive. So let's go. As the topic before us is living in the light. We did living as the light in the week before. We're doing living in the light. Right. So let's go. When we read that scripture, what part caught you? What part struck you? What part was new to you? What part did you understand a little different? James chapter 1. James chapter 1, verse 16 to 18. What part of it?
Okay. Verse 17.
Okay.
When we talk, it's like a mantra.
Yeah.
I didn't know the other details attached to that. Even though we know it's from scripture.
Yeah.
You hear people say every good and perfect gifts come from God. But then, so here it emphasizes that it's from above and that it comes down. So down to man from the Father of lights.
Come on.
So while you were reading, I don't know if it's from New King James, I was trying to check if maybe the version you're reading from would use it.
We change it, yeah. It's above.
The same word.
As
And then it says, with whom there's no variation or shadow of turning. Yeah, that's part that was me like, just made me stand say wider
yeah.
understanding.
It's a wider understanding. Awesome. I'm going to come back to that. That's very profound. In fact, it is the reason we read this scripture first. It's a guide as we read the subsequent scriptures that we would see. Okay, who else? Silver, Franklin. What part struck you, caught you, stand out, saw differently?
I was not hearing her clearly. I didn't
Okay.
really get everything that she said.
Okay.
But for me,
Okay, wait, let me do a recap for her. So, okay, but go ahead. Okay, just go ahead. So afterwards I'll just recap what she said.
For me, it's verse 17, the ending part of verse 17, with whom there is no variation or shifting. So I got to understand that there's no variation in him. That means he doesn't change. He remains constant.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the part
That got you. Awesome. Okay. So while she was talking, she actually said what you said finally, right? But her emphasis was on the word above, that it has always been said that all good things and perfect gifts comes from God. That it now, like a quotable quote, all good and perfect gifts comes from God. But in the course of reading the scripture, she realized that it was above that was written there and not God. Right? Versus the way we interpret it, we rushly say it, all good and perfect gifts comes from God. And I said, yes, I was going to come back to that. So, okay, awesome. Frankly, what about you? Any new? Anything pop out? Anything? Okay, let me just go ahead because of time. So, what caught me there was it started by saying, "Do not err." Right? It started by saying, "Do not err." Started by saying, "Do not err." Like that moment where you are saying, "Do not be deceived. Do not be deceived." Like it is said in Psalm 95, "Do not be deceived." It started by saying, "Do not be deceived," and then King James says, "Do not err," which means that error is on this wise, right? That you assume that what comes from above is from God. Did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Error is to assume, is to mix anything, is to turn anything around, is to bend anything, is to alter anything. Error or to be deceived is in that wise. So when he says, "Do not be deceived," he said, "Do not err," dear brothers. The first thing he stressed is gifts. You know, I've told us before that the gifts of God and his person are not the same. The reason he began by saying, "Do not err," is that one can actually assume his gifts as his person. I don't know if I'm communicating.
Yes, sir.
One can assume his gift as his person. And if you ever do that, you are in error. If you ever assume his gifts to be his person, right? Or the measure of his person, then you are wrong. You are already in error. So anything you now say based on that particular standing is wrong. Is wrong because you can't conclude God to be what you want to make him to be. Not even in the reading of the scripture. If in the reading of the scripture you read it in the old, you will be strongly in error. And you cannot describe him that way. You cannot fix him that way. Now look at, after he said that, he said, every good thing given, that's 95. Every good thing given. The word good is in a physical sense. Is in goodliness, that is manifested goodliness, in inner excellence. What you and everybody can see as good, what is generally accepted as good. Now, when we are saying generally accepted, now we know that even for bad people, right? Even for bad people, they have their version of good. For instance, someone threw a bomb into a particular country and it killed the president, and you're like, "Oh, that's good."
Yes, sir.
I mean, so in the general context, you can't use man's version of good as good. Now, somebody will say, "Well, good is relative." The moment you enter relative with anything, the moment you are trying to define anything and you say, "You know what, that matter is relative," then you are in error. Follow me. you're in error. Because at that point, you really don't even know the meaning of the word good. You don't know the meaning of that word, that you don't know that thing that you are trying to defend. You have now gotten to the point where you want to define that thing to your convenience, right? To as it suits you, right? To as it sounds good by you, right? And this is exactly what happens in every religion. They find themselves in every move, in every action that a politician does, a government in authority does, or whatever. Everybody just tries to define their own portion of good. So somebody will starve the people and will say, you know what? We're sorry, we cannot afford to provide the people basic amenity. Why? We're using the money to buy weapon for the war against Bangladesh. I mean, by the time you hear stuff like that, you'll be wondering, okay, so how is that a good thing? But for them, it is a good thing. For them, it is a good thing, right? And so, because their definition of good is flawed, it takes us back to the definition of good. And then you understand what it means when you say every good thing given. Every good thing given. At that point, you now know what you are talking about when you say good. Imagine Jesus saying, somebody came to Jesus and said, good teacher, right? And he said, no man is good, but God. He was not talking about his person. He was talking about his gifts, right? He was talking about his gifts because he was talking about a thoroughness, right? The same way you put love, you put hope, right? He was talking about something that is constant. He didn't say all of a sudden God's name is good. No, he's saying that nobody is good. Nobody is good but God. He's the definition. If you want to define good, you have to define it from him. He has to define it to you. I don't know if I'm communicating.
Yes, sir.
So let me use a practical example. Two Christians are in church, right? One is praying that God should allow that the person that is owing him money in church should forgive him the money. No, the person that he borrowed money from in church should forgive him the money, right? Is in that same church. Oh. The other person, he's saying that, God, please touch this child of yours to give me my money.
Okay.
The two of them are in church. How is a good God going to answer that question, that request? How should a good God? Because the person that is praying that the person that is owing money should forgive him the debt is praying to a good God.
Yeah.
The one who is saying, God, touch your own child. This child is your own child too. Now, it's not my child. After all, I'm not the one that gave birth to this kind of peking. It's your child. Okay, so talk to your child to give me my money. How does both of them define a good God? You see that the definition of good at this point has nothing to do with what we can term as good. Because good for this person is give me my money. Good for this person is forgive the debt. So two versions of good on a scenario, on a situation. Somebody, 5 people are running a race. 5. All 5 of them prayed to the Lord that they will win this race as gold medalists, right? 5 of them. The same God. Let's not even assume that anyone is from any other God. The same God, right? And then they had, and this one's boom, bam, everybody was running back. And then maybe the first person, one of the persons that prayed fell. He didn't just fall, he broke his Achilles heel or his ankle or something. The second one had a strain on a thigh or a muscle, and so she became slower. Not very long after the gunshot, right? And one person won as gold, another person won as and one just suddenly had the one that won got a strong motivation or something that just boom increased her tenacity or his tenacity. The bottom line is 1 person out of 5 who prayed to God, to the good God, 1. What is the definition of good to each of those persons? Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
What would then be the definition of good to all of these persons, the 5 of them? Why the other one will be wondering, God, how is this a good thing? I asked that I win this race. I broke my ankle. That I would ever get back to running now is by your grace, right? It's by your grace that they will ever get to that point. Is by your grace. That's 1. 2. That I would, as in the person would ever get back on his or her winning ways, running and all of that now would be by God's grace, right?
You are muted, sir.
Yeah, sorry about that. So sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, so the where was I? So I said the 5 of them, right?
The grace of God, the person that broke his leg,
Yes.
for him to get back running. The grace of God.
Exactly, right? Then so sorry about that. I think I might just even have to. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so yes, so the one fell down, right? One fell down, and he has to ask or wonder how good this God is. Why the other that had a strain in his what's it called, or her muscle, will be wondering, how is this a good thing, right? Of all the days to have a strain today, right?
Mm.
Then the person who got gold will be feeling like, oh, I serve a good God, right? My God is a good God. Then that person will be feeling like he's serving a better God than the rest of them,
Yeah.
right? The person that got second will be saying, Kai, I just lost it by just a second. I was just a second different or 2 seconds different or something. And that one would always live in the regret of how that he or she was just a second away. And will be saying, so God, you mean that you could not propel me a second ahead or 2 seconds ahead, right? The third person might just be saying, Father, thank you that I got bronze. But at least, how do they say that thing in colloquialism? They'll say, at all, I'm bad pass. So you say that I finally was able to get something. Thank God, right? However, this is not what I wanted, though. But this is not good. This is not the good I was expecting when I asked you. But I'll manage it. Now, these are 5 people who prayed the same thing, that the good God will grant them to win this race, because nobody goes to run a race and plans to come out last, right? Nobody runs a race and plans to come out last. So the first person that came last, second to the last, and all of that will be wondering, how is this the answer to my prayer? What am I trying to say in essence? Because like I said, this is just supposed to be basis, and we've spent a lot of time because I was distracted doing something else, right? Right. So is that every good thing given, and then immediately he went to, and every perfect gift is from above. Every good thing given and every perfect gift is from above. So the best way to ascertain what good is in this place, can we hear me?
Yes, sir.
Because I want to drop this and move. The best way to ascertain what good is in this place is not even where it is coming from. It's not where it is coming from, so to speak. When you say is from above, no. Because, I mean, you know the way we used to deceive ourselves, that Satan is in hellfire and hellfire is under the ground. I don't know if you...
Yes, sir.
That hellfire is down, heaven is up. So anytime you hear people, they'll say, Satan never forgot and Masha, and everybody will be hitting the ground as if that's where Satan is. Scripture made it clear to us, right, that Satan is that there is what is called a governing spirit. There are what is called governing spirits. Satan fell like lightning, fell into the earth realm. By so doing, hell is not, that's where Satan's kingdom is not under the earth as we make it to look. Yes, there is hate, yes, but it's not under the earth as we make it to look, because there's nothing like under the earth, right? It's not under the earth. So to speak. It is actually just above the earth. That domain is just above the earth. And that's why when we talk of first heaven, second heaven, third heavens, right? It is because there is a layer from where these things come from. There's a layer, there's a strata, there's a structure of leadership and authority where these things come from. So when you say from above, you must be sure where the above is, or which of the above. For instance, a woman goes to meet a native doctor, and she asks for a child, and the native doctor tells her what to do, and she does it, and she receives a child. Where did the child come from? From under the ground. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because in reality, that kind of thing does not come from down; it comes from above. But that's why you must be sure which above. Somebody is scatterly wealthy, permit me to use that word, and then you are wondering how that the person got wealthy, and you are saying, oh, maybe this person did money ritual and what have you, and then you say, Kai, he got this wealth from the demonic kingdom. The question is, where is the demonic kingdom? It is above. Scripture talks about the prince of Persia, how that the prince of Persia was governing the entire Babylon. The prince of Persia was not under the ground. The prince of Persia was above. How the scripture portrays it. An angel was sent to deliver a message to Daniel in the book of Daniel, right? And Daniel and the angel, the prince of Persia, withheld him in his space where above. Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
Not below, not under the ground, not the way we portray it to look, not under the ground, but above. Now, for you to better understand this, that conflict happened above, just after his own terrain, maybe even after the terrain, after his own terrain. So, but above. And so we must understand that when scripture says every good thing given, then he went on to say, and every perfect gift is from above. So his way of defining good is the word perfect. That's why I said I will say it once. Right?
Yes, sir.
His way, God's way of defining good is perfect. So when all of us are asking God, all the 5 athletes are asking God, it will be a good thing if you allow me win this race. Winning the race is not a good thing. Because it is not a perfect gift. Okay. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
No, sir.
Okay. If the person wins the race, what else happens to the person? What else becomes of the person? To what end is the race winning? You get a prize, a medal. Then
Yes.
what happens to the medal?
You keep it in your house.
Both of you are saying the same thing. My wife said you keep it and be happy. At the end of the day, that is not perfect. That is in Hausa this is Magana Banza or something. It's at the end of the day, it is not. If Jesus can say no man is good but God, you cannot compare a medal that you hang as God. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. It pales in comparison. That's why I said so. Anything that we assume to be a form of good pales in comparison, and so it is not good. And that's why I said the true definition of good is perfect gift. Is a perfect gift, right? And it is so. Okay, let me give an example. Let me give practical example. So when God gives you a child, is a child a good gift or a perfect gift? Now, scripture says that. Scripture says about the child.
A good gift.
You said?
It is a good gift.
It is a good gift. It is a good gift. Follow me. It is a good gift. How the child now decides to live determines that he would enter into his perfection, into the perfect gift that he was meant to be. Follow this. It means that even you and I are good gifts to this world. But we were not meant to be good gifts. We were meant to be perfect gifts. Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
It is to the degree that we live the life that is created, that we were created for. It is to the degree that we live the life. That's why I said that good is in the definition of God. Good is not in the definition of things. God now becomes the definition of what good. And that's why I said, when he said every good thing given, then immediately he went to and every perfect gift. You notice he didn't say good gifts. He said perfect gifts. In other words, this good thing is not yet a gift. It has not, how do you say it? It has not become a gift. It's still in itself a good thing, right? A child is a good thing, but it has not become a perfect gift just yet. There is a lot of honing, there's a lot of brushing up, there's a lot of things that need to be done to ensure that this child now becomes the perfect gift, right? It says from above. Now, this is where I'm going to. So even this perfect gift has its source. And its source was now the next thing that was stressed. From above, coming down from the Father of lights. In other words, anything that is good is sourced from God. Anything that is good is a perfect. Anything that is good can move to become a perfect gift. However, it is sourced from God. Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
Am I communicating? Now, let me stress so you don't assume it's God, any God. No, it's not any God. It is the Father of light. It is the Father of light. It is not just any God, so that you don't it is sourced from the Father of light. And so you see why, when I was stressing what you ought to be, we had stressed this in the previous Shabbat service, that we are light, right?
Yes, sir.
And if we would have gotten to the point where indeed we are light and living as light, we have become a perfect gift. We have become a perfect gift. On that premise, we have become a perfect gift when we begin to live as light, because it is sourced from the Father of light. So this is the definition of good. It is that you are living as light. It is that you are living as light. This is the definition of good. This is the definition of a perfect gift. You know, say, like they used to say that it became a colloquialism. We just say every good gift and perfect gift. We now make comes from God. We now make it look like that's what Scripture says, but no, that's not what the Scripture says. Right? It is every good thing given, and every perfect gift is from above, coming out from the Father of light. And then the last thing I want to stress here, as we move to read the next scripture, and time has really gone, we'll buy it back. We'll see how we can buy this time back, right? Is the word there is no variation or shadow of turning, which means that God will not change. This statement there. It means that if God chooses that in all eternity he will be lamb, he will not change his mind and become camel.
Yes, sir.
If he has made up his mind that in Revelations, that in the new heaven and the new earth, he is lamb, the measure that he will reveal himself to the world, to everyone that would make it and cross over to the other side, is lamb. He will not change his mind and become lion, because you read it in the scriptures that he is the lion of the tribe of Judah. No, he would explain to you that those are what's the word? Those are gifts. Those were his gifts to the children of Israel. Those were his gifts to people, his to nations, and all. But that was not who he is. And so when he says there is no, with whom there is no variation, to the Father of lights, was not to describe him as light alone. It was to describe him. It was to describe, the children that he brings. It was to describe the good that he brings. It was to describe the perfect gifts that he brings. In other words, that you are a light makes you a perfect gift. Until anybody becomes a light, it is not yet a perfect gift. Until that medal becomes a light, it is not yet a perfect gift. Until that matter you have raised to God becomes a light, it is not yet a perfect gift. And you cannot tie perfect gift to temporary timelines. Perfect gifts are eternal. I don't know if I'm communicating.
Yes, sir.
Perfect gifts are eternal. So you're not talking of something that, somebody runs a race. You ran the race, you broke the world record. 2 years down the line, somebody else runs that race and breaks the world record. Yes, you felt it was a good thing when you had it, but 2 years down the line, somebody else has it. If you are not careful, you begin to resent the person that got the new record, because in your mind he has taken the record away from you, and it is a bad thing to you. But that is not eternal in its nature. It's not eternal in its disposition. It cannot be eternal in its arrangement. Therefore, it cannot sustain. It cannot sustain. And so, if you must define good, it must be a perfect gift, and it must have eternal qualities. It must have the qualities of light. And so that's the point I'm trying to express to you. One, and I say that very quickly as I jump off this read. One is that good things are not necessarily perfect gifts. For a good thing to become a perfect gift, it is sourced from God. For a good thing to become a perfect gift, it is sourced. It's sourced is from God. 1. 2, for a good thing to become a perfect gift, it is depicting, it is living out God's design. It is living out God's purpose. It is living out God's will. It is representing in every sense of the word what God originally designed it to be. That is a perfect gift. That is a perfect gift. And then lastly, I said that when he said Father of light, it was not describing God as light, even though that's what it also means, but it's not describing God as light. Rather, it was describing that a perfect gift is light. Am I communicating? So, not even your child is a perfect gift yet until your child is a light to his world. Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
Not even a child. That's why I like the fact that Franklin quickly answered. He said, no, a child is a good thing. Because if you go to scripture was talking about children. Scripture says children are the heritage of the Lord. The fruit of the womb is what? His reward. Yes, God gives it. But he didn't say the perfect gift is his reward. The fruit of the womb is his reward. He gives it. Right? But that moving that child to perfect gift is on you. And that's why parenting matters, right? So because of time, I will read verse.
Sorry, sir. Before we move on, I have a question.
All right, go ahead.
From what you said concerning the athlete that we're all praying for a good thing about concerning the race here. So can we say, because you asked the question like to what end is their winning?
Yeah.
So can we say when we are asking or requesting something from God for us to get like there were 5 of them now asking for one particular thing. So for us to get that answer, it has to be to an end towards perfection, like towards being a perfect gift. I don't know if the question is clear.
Yeah. I get it. And yes, you are correct. It is that. Okay, no. So you are looking at the request, right?
Yeah, from the request standpoint.
Yes, at the point, God is looking at the outcome. God is looking at the overall outcome. He doesn't judge good based on your estimated end goal of that request. He judges good based on the estimated outcome that he has in mind. And that's why I wanted us to read verse 18 quickly before I rounded up this book. It says, in the exercise of his will, he brought us forth. Right?
Yeah.
So it is that our desire should not be, God, I want to win this race. That alone is not a good request to make. Because what does God do to every other person that is asking the same question?
Yeah.
Throw them to the dustbin. Okay, so she was saying here, I don't know if you heard her, that she was giving an example of the prayer of the persistent, that Jesus was now saying, no, that story was the story of faith, was to teach faith, right? That was what that story was all about. That story was to teach faith. You're having faith more than the other. Okay, she just said so. Well, it's not you, one person having faith more than the other. That's why the other person will get the gold, and the other person will carry last. So the person that carry last now does not have faith enough. Okay, no problem. However, we want to push that line of thought. The measure is to the will of God, right? And that's why Jesus, you will notice, Jesus was always saying, okay, not my will, your will, it's your will. Because judging good when Jesus was going to the cross would have mean that to the carnal man, good for Jesus would mean that God would say, okay, don't worry. But I would just kill, in fact, wipe away the world and start afresh straight up, or let everybody don't die. That might have been good to the person of Jesus, and only his disciples and all of that will be preserved. But what was good to Jesus, as in I'm saying the earthly bodily Jesus, right, was not good for God, right? Was not good for God. And as such, what is good for God, what God calls good, like I said, is a perfect gift. And that's why too, for all eternity, Jesus is dying on that cross. Is forever good. Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
It is not temporarily good. It is not momentarily good. If he had not died, it would have been that time good only. But it is eternally good. And that's why I said, when God judges good, rather, he looks at it in the exercise of his will, right? He looks at when you can say that, oh, this good has become really good. It's when, that's why I said, it becomes a perfect gift. It becomes eternally good. It answers to his will eternally. For instance, God destroying death at the end of time is not temporary goodness. Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
It is eternally good. God taking away sickness and disease is not temporary good. It's eternally good. And that's why when people celebrate miracles, right? I laugh because miracles are temporary good, right? Even scripture says that this temporary good is so that the people that want to believe will believe.
Yeah.
But the people that want to believe will believe. But you and I know that there are some persons who have believed because of miracle and become unbelieving like 2 days later. I don't know if I'm communicating.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I've seen somebody who your mom, let's say the mom got healed and the father got sacked 2 days later. And the person that believed God because, oh, God just healed my mom, also became unbelieving because his father was just sacked. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
That God, where were you when my father was sacked? Because you cannot measure it based on miracles. You can't sustain it based on miracles. Jesus was saying, he said, one of his disciples said, these people are coming because of the food you gave them. But he didn't stop Jesus from still giving them food the following day. Because, I mean, if they came for food, it's fine. He only told them a message in the water had eternal good. How that it had eternal good until you eat my flesh and drink my blood. Immediately finished the message. What happened to all of them? They ran. Oh. They ran. How will you be saying we should eat your flesh and drink your blood? Eat your flesh and drink your blood, okay? That one is far reaching. You know. I mean, it's bread I came to collect, not your flesh and not your blood. And before you know what's happening, they left him. So, and that's why I said, so in answering your question, the measure of good is long-term, right? Is to the degree that you shine the light. Is long-term. So if we must look at good, the best way to look at good is how much am I what's that English? How much am I I'm trying to put it in practical terms so you understand. How much am I doing his will? I didn't want to use the word will. I wanted to use something practical. Okay, yes, this is the best way to say it. How much am I doing what he told me to do? Do you get my point? That's the best way. That's the easiest way to put it. How much am I doing what he told me to do? It is to that degree that I can say for a fact that I am in the perfect. I am becoming a perfect gift. It's to that degree I'm becoming a perfect gift. Because verse 18 says, in the exercise of his will, he brought us forth. Notice, he didn't say he brought the gift forth. He didn't say he brought the good forth. He said he brought us forth. Who is the us? The people who are doing his will. Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
The people who are doing his will, right? By the exercise of his will, he brought us forth. By the exercise, in other words, I have not given you a perfect yet until that person has begun to do the will, right? Has begun to do my will. I can't tell you that I brought this good gift forth yet. I can't tell you I brought out this perfect gift just yet, right? Because it has to do my will. When it does my will, then I bring it forth. It now says, by the word of truth, right? Did you see that? Verse 18. Did you see that?
Yes, sir.
By the word of truth, so that we would be a kind of first fruit among his creatures. This is, for me, that's why I said what God wanted to do, right? The original creation was not to have Christians that just look like every other religion and every other Christian, every other whatever. It was to create a creature first, then to create a kind of that creature, and then first fruit. I was talking about 5 levels of beings in the new creature, in the new heaven and the new earth. And in the new heaven and the new earth, it all begins with the new creator. There is a new creation, right? Or a new creature. And in this new creature, right, there's what is called a kind in the new creature. So while we have the new creature, we have a kind in it. That's step 2. We have then the first fruit of this new creature. That is step 3. Then we have step 4, those who will be invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb, which is people at the table. This is the creature that is the table. And then we have the last category, which is the bride. We have the last category, which is the bride, right? And this bride, the best way to put it is the people who does what he wants them to do squarely, 100%. In fact, if there's anything like 110, right? This category I've just listed are what you call the perfect gifts. So if the father was to give his son a bride, will he give his son a good gift or a perfect gift? My wife added without blemish. Because you to think about it, when you want to give a gift to somebody, I mean, from your heart of heart, and you want that person to really value you, you give the person a perfect gift, right? It's the same thing. If God is going to give his son a bride, he will give the son his perfect gift. And that's why I keep telling people, all these, let me just enter heaven. When you will now finally enter the heaven, you will now realize that there are levels, right? And you'll be asking yourself, why didn't I know of these levels? Or why did I aspire to climb up to these levels? Because even when you are thinking that to just enter heaven will suffice, you will not realize that ideology is false. Because the ideology of the heaven that the church has taught us is the heaven that will also be destroyed, right? And it means that is not the heaven we are going to. If at all, there is another heaven. And that particular heaven, you will not like to be the gatekeeper. You will not like to be just a creature in that place. Am I communicating? No, you won't like to just be just a creature. You would want to be the big deal. You want to be the ideal. You want to be the creme de la creme. You want to be the reason for. So imagine that there are creatures that will not be invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb. That already is so that you are in heaven, there's a wedding going on, and you are not invited. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
That's right.
That there is a heaven, and you still cannot see this God. The highest you can see is from a distance. Silver says he will be the light of the place, no problem. But you can see that the same way we are seeing sun, and we are seeing it from a distance. You'll be seeing him, but from a distance. Yet there are people who are seeing him as he is, who are where he is. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
That's right.
Then you will not be saying, no, let me just enter heaven. Okay? Enter heaven does not cut it. Because enter heaven will not become you not be kind. Why did they tell me? Why didn't I know that this entering of the heaven is nothing? It's just like when somebody is saying, it's just like somebody is saying, you are going into a bank, for instance. You're going into a bank, and all you desire is to enter the bank. You now enter the bank and now realize that entering the bank is useless because nobody will give you money. You don't have account, right? Nobody will give you money. You don't have account. You cannot pay him money because you don't even have the money to pay him the money. You cannot meet any manager in this place because you don't have the right to meet the manager. Levels will not allow you to meet the manager. You don't have an account. It's people that have accounts that can meet manager. You now realize that entering the bank is as useless as being outside. I don't know if I'm communicating.
Yes, sir.
Then what is the use to just enter? It's the use to just enter. And this is why living as the light is important. It is as we live as light that we move from this good thing that God has given us, which is salvation, right? Which is that we are a new creature, into becoming a perfect gift. God doesn't want us to just get there and just be like the guy by the right hand that said, tonight, let me be with you in paradise. And he said, okay, fine. Because a lot of person will say, you see, salvation, that guy did not do anything. He just entered. It was just the grace of God. And he entered heaven. Okay, if that's how you want to be in eternity, you to just go like that. When still, let them be killing you. And on the cross, say, Father, I know that you can save me. I'm sorry for this. So please just have mercy on me. You enter heaven, no problem. But it's the heaven you want. You enter heaven. But when you enter, you would realize what we are talking about. Because it's way. It's so unfathomable. There is more. And that's why the perfect gift opportunity that we have, why we give our life to Christ, or rather why we receive his life and we are still here, is spot on. It is an opportunity to receive someone and do them. We are going to pray now, so I will not be able to read all the scriptures. I mean, this is sufficient for today. We'll do the rest subsequently. But so the emphasis here is in the exercise of his will, he has brought us forth. So when we get to common, we're going to minister to the Lord now, and everybody's going to give someone. Everybody, you must hear an instruction and you must say it. You must say, I've already heard a couple, I've written some down. We would hear instructions and we will say it. The summons will bring you forth when you do them. Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
Summons will bring it. Wait, I want us to read verse 18. Let me be sure we are all saying it. Can we all read verse 18? James 1. And after that, we'll minister to the Lord for a few minutes. James chapter 1, verse 18. I want everyone to read it. If we can read together, that will be perfect. James 1:18. Are we there?
Yes, sir.
1, 2, go.
Of his moving, he get
In the
us.
exercise of his will, he brought us forth by the word of truth,
By the word of truth. So that
to
will be
give a kind of first fruit among his creatures.
Okay, good. Franklin, what translation were you reading?
King James.
Please read it.
New King James.
Please go ahead, read it.
Of his own will beget he us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruit of his creatures.
Of his creatures. Of his own will beget he us, right? Of his own will beget he us. Don't worry, don't mind King James. The point is, it is from his will that we were born. That's basically what you were saying. You do his will, you exercise his will, you do his summons, you do what he told you to do. It is from there that you are born a perfect gift. That is what he's saying in black and white. Am I communicating? Yeah, that's what he's saying. So he now says, by the word of truth. So the word that you do is the word of truth. You're not just doing what your pastor say, what somebody else said. It is the word of truth. You can verify that it is the word of truth. It is the word of truth. You can verify it, right? And the moment you can verify it, I mean, doing it is the next giving. So can we just go ahead and minister to the Lord? It's already 9:15, so let's minister to the Lord for the next 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and hear songs. We would hear his will on certain matters, and it will be on us to do it. Banana sabanite, at the fast strike, Saminate, Sakitaide, Nakaida, Shamanos Ketaida, the Debelekelabanahai, a Shabakate, the Beleketaido, or Shaga Kekai Hamato, Sadavaido Adad, and Sakadabat. Eshabalabadakatanabanakai, Eshabandeta, Topanana, Samanamana, Ekanamanacatada, Evada Bebe Calabalahai, Ekadekadekadekadekadamanahike, Nkashada hike, Nkashadina Kitamento Sala Galaito, Ekadekadamanakota Sadekada, Edelaka, Oh, shut up.